So I said that we'd extend this mouse tracking task to present a few more different images that the participants have to search through, and also maybe we only want it so that the participant can click on the target in order to end a trial. We don't want to end a trial if they're just clicking randomly somewhere else on the screen. So let's see how we would do that. So to get started, I've updated our PsychoPy file a little bit. Specifically, in the image component, I've now, instead of using a single image path, I've referred to a variable, this image. So I've got $this_image, and I've made sure that this field sets every repeat, meaning it's going to update every trial. I've also now got a loop around my trial routine I've added by inserting a loop. And in that loop, I am feeding in a spreadsheet that I'm going to present one time, and I'm going to present the rows of that spreadsheet in a random order. So just to show you what that spreadsheet looks like, let's take a little look here, and also let's zoom in so you can actually see what is in this spreadsheet. So I've got one column, this image, and each value in those rows there refers to a specific image that I'm going to present. So I'm only going to use 2 images right now. I've also got these columns target X and target Y, and at the moment they're empty. This is because I'm actually going to use these fields in a moment in order to control a region of interest that I'll allow my participants to click within. Specifically, I need to know the exact X and Y location of Wally on each of these images. Now I'm actually going to use my mouse tracking experiment in order to get those XY values. So I'll put a pin in this, and we'll come back to this in a moment in order to set up a region of interest. But let's see what our experiment looks like first of all. So I've clicked run on my experiment, and it's going to launch up in a moment. It's going to look very similar to what we've seen before, except this time we're going to see 2 scenes. So it might be quite difficult if you've seen this for the first time, but I know where Wally is. He's up here, so I'm clicking on him, and then I see my second scene, and I'm going to click on him there as well. Okay, then I'm going to use the data files in order to use the X and Y positions that I clicked on to set a region of interest. So I've opened up the data file from that run that I just did, and I'll zoom in so that you can actually see what I'm looking at. We've got 2 rows here because I had 2 trials. On the first trial, we actually saw image 2. So what was the location of Wally when image 2 was presented? Now, if I go to my mouse X and Y columns, of course, these cells actually contain quite a lot of values because we've got save every frame on, but we just want the last value in that list to indicate the X coordinate of where Wally was presented. I'm going to use this value then inside my trial spreadsheet. So I'm just going to steal that. I know when image 2 was presented, this was the X location that I clicked, and when image 2 was presented, this was the Y location that I clicked. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same, but for my second image. So I'm basically using the data from an experiment in order to actually set up the way I want my experiment to be. So let's take that Y value. Lovely. And then I'm done with my data file. So I'm going to close it, but I do want to make sure I save my updated conditions file. Okay. I'm then going to add in a region of interest so that the participant can only click on that area in order to end the trial. Now, by region of interest, to be honest with you, in a mouse tracking experiment, I pretty much just mean a polygon. So we can go in stimuli, polygon. I'm going to call this ROI polygon just so that I know what this is. Let's make this a circular area, and we're going to present it infinitely. And in the layout tab, I want the position of that region of interest to be target_X by target_Y. So I'm using those columns in my conditions spreadsheet in order to set the position of this polygon. Of course, we want that to set every repeat because it's going to update every trial. Now, we possibly do want to change the size of our region of interest because at the moment, this is going to be 50% of screen height in width and height. So that's quite large. So let's make it smaller. Let's make it just a 10% of screen height that the participant can click in. And also maybe in the appearance tab, For now, let's just make it so our polygon is kind of semi-transparent so we can see where it is in order to check it's there. Once we're happy with it, we can actually make it invisible. So for now, we're going to set the opacity of this polygon to be 0.5, and let's make its fill colour yellow so that it's nice and easy to see. Okay, lovely. So let's just check that this works, shall we, by running our experiment. Okay, so I've pressed run on my experiment, and indeed, now you can see there is this little yellow circle around Wally. I can actually still click anywhere on the scene in order to end this. So we do want to make one more tweak, but then I've got my yellow circle here, but we do know the region of interest is appearing in the location we want it to, so that's good. The last tweak we want to make here is that our mouse component, rather than ending on any click, we want to only end on a valid click. And by valid click, we're going to specify in the clickable stimuli field that the only thing the participant can click is ROI_polygon. Okay, lovely. And then we might want to actually make our region of interest invisible. So we can then make it so that our opacity of our shape is 0. And now you have a mouse tracking paradigm in which participants can only click on the target area in order to end a trial. So hopefully you found this useful. Maybe we'll cover a few more tips and tricks of what you can do with mouse tracking, but hopefully you found this helpful.